Welcome back, everybody. Today, I'm going over a game between Dingley Ren, the reigning world champion, and Magnus Carlsen, the best player in the world. You might ask, why isn't Magnus the reigning world champion if he's the best player in the world? But that's because he decided not to defend his title, and he actually just decided not to play in the candidates to become the next world champion because he didn't like the format. But this is not a classical game, as you can see. He starts out with 10 minutes, and Magnus started out with only 7. I don't know why Magnus has less time and is black. Normally you'd have less time if you're white. But we have c4 in English and e5 by Magnus. Now, Dingley Ren Fionketters his bishop, and Magnus plays very passive on this side of the board. Now we have Ding bringing out his knight, gets attacked by the bishop, and now after e4, we have e6 now, and knight to e2, trying to push this pawn in the center here. So Magnus defending this pawn, because now after you push, we'll take back, you'll take, and we'll castle and continue with the game. You'll have a knight there, 2 pawns, and black thinks that they have a good position here. So Dingley Ren plays h3 here, and now we have a5 by Magnus attacking on the flank, even though he probably knows that Ding is going to castle this way, which is what he does immediately. So now Magnus has 6 minutes and 40 seconds, Ding has 9 minutes and 10, and we have knight to c6 by Magnus, and d3 by Dingley Ren. Now knight to h7, and we have king to h2. Very odd moves by the both of them, but king h2 is actually the best move in the position. Knight back. So you can see what Magnus wanted. He wanted to reroute his knight to either this square or this square, because his knight here was kind of stopped by, couldn't really go anywhere. So he decided to reroute it and do something else with it. We have f4, the best move in the position, again by Dingley Ren. Now he's creating a little bit of an advantage, but they're so low on time, an advantage this big, it's going to go crazy everywhere, up and down all the time. So now we have pawn to f5, attacking the knight. Knight jumps into the center, hitting this knight, and we're looking at some tricks over here. We have knight takes back, and now we have this knight very strong here, outposted, and Dingley Ren plays rook to b1, looking to push this pawn here, and we'll see what happens. We have bishop to d7, just trying to develop this bishop on this diagonal maybe. Not there, obviously, because the knight would take it. Now we have b3 by Ding, defending his pawn structure, and Magnus just attacks it immediately. Now we have queen to g4 by Ding. The first mistake of the game, move 16, and they're getting closer on time, you can see. But we have king to f8, not castling, which he could have done, but instead just defends this pawn with the king, not with a rook, which is a very odd move to play, but computer loves it. Now we have queen to h5, attacking this pawn. Maybe we're gonna rook lift, maybe bone pushing this pawn, maybe bishop takes, lots of ideas. We have pawn forward defending, and now queen back all the way, just trying to defend on this side of the board. And now pawn to b4 by Magnus, attacking this knight, and now the knight jumps onto a4. We could trade off and double these pawns over here, which is not what Magnus does. He drops his bishop back. Now he's defending these squares, so the knight really has nowhere it can go to. It can go backwards, but really that's its only square, right? So we have bishop f3 by Ding, and now knight takes, rook takes, and queen over, trying to maybe jump on this square or this square. Maybe, probably not there actually, but we have g4 by Dingley Ren, and I don't think, no, not a single pawn has been traded yet. 2 pairs of minor pieces have been traded. Magnus still has both of his bishops. Dingley Ren has a knight and a bishop. They could trade it off if they wanted to, but I think that opens the file for the rook, so that's probably why Magnus didn't take here. But we have bishop to d4 now, cementing this bishop on the square. It's an outpost. Now we have bishop to e3, trying to attack that outpost because he doesn't like it. Magnus takes, and he takes back with the rook. So now we have a bishop versus a knight here, and now he trades it off. Now this file could be open in a second, but we have doubled pawns here for Ding, and now it's a queen and rook's endgame, and we'll see what happens. Magnus immediately cements down this pawns, so this pawn is double defended, and he's not going to open the file for his rook. And now we have h4 by Dingley Wren, just trying to push pawns on this side to make a break for it. Still, we've not traded a single pawn, but we've traded all the minor pieces, which is kind of insane. Now, king e7 by Magnus, moving his king over. Maybe we're going to march to this side of the board. We don't know yet. Rook h3 by Ding. I don't know if we're going to push here. I don't know if we're going to push here. I don't know what he's thinking. King d8 by Magnus. I don't really confused by his moves, really. We have queen to c2 now, and king to c7. I don't know why he didn't do this. Maybe he wanted to lose a tempo? Oh, I don't think it mattered because of where he went. He took the same amount of moves to go where he wanted to go. This is why Ding went here and not here, because now he has his other rook here. So if he had this double defended, it wouldn't matter. And now we have rook to g3, just defending his pawn, and he's just sliding his rooks around, really. Magnus is now trying to make an offense attack now. We have Ding just sliding his king over, rook forwards by Magnus, and now king over, rook, and now these rooks are doubled here. Maybe he's going to push, maybe he's going to push this one. We'll see in a second. King drops back, queen forwards. Now all of his pieces are eyeing this square. Looks like he's going to push there. And we have king d1 by Ding, king over by Magnus, king over, king up. And now maybe Ding's going to make a push for it and see if he can break open on this side. Magnus goes king over. Ding goes king up, attacking this pawn. We'll see. Magnus goes king over. Ding goes queen to h2, so I don't think he's going to be opening on this side yet. Magnus plays queen over, and we're just really shuffling pieces right now. They don't really have anything they're doing, and yeah, they're just going back and forth for the moment. They're both pretty low on time, like a minute 47 to a minute 28. It is a completely drawing endgame by the computer. So as they're just going back and forth, Ding finally pushes a pawn. Magnus takes it. Ding takes back with the pawn, and now all of these rooks are going to trade off, possibly. Yep, that's what happens. But Magnus takes back, which is pretty interesting. Now Ding decides to take, Magnus takes back, and now we have queen takes g5, the only winning move in the position. If he didn't play that, he would have lost the game. Now we have Magnus playing queen h1, infiltrating onto Ding's side, and he drops his king back. Now we have queen a1 attacking this pawn, and Ding infiltrates his queen onto Magnus's side. This is a really interesting endgame. We have still only 2 pawns traded from each side, so we have 6 pawns and 1 queen for each side. We have queen c3 check, king drops back, and now we take the pawn with check. That's very important. Taking the pawn with check, that's very important. Now we have king forwards and queen check again, and now king drops back. We take this pawn with check, so he can't move his queen right now because he's in check, so he moves his king up. We have queen back defending, and now Magnus is up 2 pawns. Can't see the material on your screen, but we have queen over by Ding, trying to attack this pawn, but it's too late. Magnus plays the check. Actually, it's not too late, but Magnus is a little bit better, although he's 2 pawns up. We have Magnus just playing the checks. Check, check. Oh, that's not a check. That's pawn forwards, attacking, trying to promote it, and we'll see what happens. Ding just plays his queen over. I don't know what the idea is here. Maybe queen here, king up, queen here, but we'll see what Magnus does. Queen to d3 check. Now we have king up, queen check, king down, queen, check, check, and it's a draw. Crazy endgame. I actually thought Magnus was going to win it, but it ends up with 1-1, and we'll see what happens later.